see a multitude of equally concerning issues that threaten the very existence of man, each in its own way. We have convened here to address these issues in pragmatic and idealistic ways. Yet, I'd like to put forth the case that none of these issues is actually as dangerous, as dramatic, as the crisis of hope that stains our common land. The cries of disenchantment between governments and their people, between our parents' generation and our own, between our own hopes and our beliefs, ring violently from the streets of Cairo to those of New York City, and leave us in a true moral dilemma as a generation. Because of our own exposure to poverty, to misery, to human suffering through the media, we are a generation like no other. We, at young ages, have seen the face of the starving, heard the unanswered sobs of the slaughtered and desperate all over the world. We watch, and it feels as if the very condition of our world is one of perpetual and perpetuated crises. You may feel overwhelmed with impotency or loss in these tumultuous times. You may lose hope or faith or vision amidst this turbulent world. But let me remind you that the issues that we are dealing with here today are not the first nor the last to threaten our planet. Let me remind you that no single crisis as of yet has successfully brought about the destruction of man. Because man has always found faith, man has always found hope, and man has always found a way to solve even the most ominous of global issues. Good has always prevailed over persistent and petulant evil. Yes, we live in a world where man holds the capacity for great evil through genocide or mass murder. Yes, we live in a world that contains extreme poverty and misery. We will not back down from this challenge. No, delegates, we will not cower from responsibility, for if you sit here in this room today, you accept that responsibility to your brothers, to your sisters, to your countrymen, and to all human beings. You acknowledge that soon we will not sit in a simulation of the United Nations, but in the real UN itself. For we are the true believers of our generation. We are those who are empowered by faith in the fundamental goodness of man and in the power of righteousness. Let this faith come through in our actions during this conference and throughout our own lives. You, like myself, do not accept famine, oppression, or disease as the natural conditions of our planet. Not while there exists plenty or wealth to sate the bellies of those who are starving. We do not accept these things because we are a demanding generation, unaccepting of half-truths, of infringements upon Syria. But more importantly, it is reflected by us meeting here today. Yes, because by coming here today, you have stated explicitly and beyond any doubt that you yourselves will not accept this state of perpetual crisis, that you yourselves will seek to improve yourselves, to expand your knowledge, to gather the tools and skills necessary so that you can take the stage when necessary and steer the heavy wheel away from crisis and towards a better future. But let us not use hate in our endeavors. Let us not use violence as a source of motivation or fear. Let us find instead a peaceful balance. A balance between pressure and incentives, appeasement and confrontation, but perhaps more importantly, let us find a balance in our own lives. A balance between seeking our own gratification and the selfless pursuit of common improvement. Let us not seek to enrich ourselves, but to enrich our people, to enrich our communities, our countrymen, our own generation. This is the only way forward, in my opinion, through compassion and unity. This is the only way to ensure that our own children do not face the same crisis of faith that we see today. Let us not allow ourselves to be conditioned or indoctrinated by the failures of our forefathers, and let us collectively abolish the acceptance of hate or war as political tools, and act in your capacity as delegates, as if it were your own countries you were representing, as if it were your own lives and those of your beloved at stake. wisdom to concede and compromise where necessary, and let us abandon conflict as an instrument of diplomacy. Delegates, the goal of this conference is to train us in politics by eliminating war as an option in the United Nations and operating only through consensus. We understand the complexities of strife and conflict, and come to understand how to engage a peaceful coexistence for our children to inhabit. And as such we learn, starting as young men and women, how to confront these issues while maintaining our morals in nonviolent and innovative ways. Delegates, the task is daunting, the obstacles abundant, but the burden is soon going to fall on our young shoulders. And it is our job, as a generation, to make sure that we leave this planet not only unblemished. It is our calling, that is our mandate, and I can only hope that you feel in your own hearts the same motivation to improve the lot of others as I know I do. For I truly believe that through harnessing and drawing upon this common passion, any crisis made by humans can be corrected by humans. Looking at our own agenda today, rogue states, immigration, poverty, censorship, desertification, abundance of weaponry, these were all crafted by the clumsy hands of man. And I believe it is the calling of our generation to take apart these creations, to work and dedicate ourselves to this cause, to our cause, today and forever.